Okay, good afternoon, everyone. It's 1 o'clock. I'd like to get us started here for the City of Erie Land Bank meeting for July 21st. And in order to do so, I would like to seek a motion to approve our agenda and minutes from our prior meeting on June 16th.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed. So that will take us to citizens' comments. Do we have any citizens here wishing to speak today?
Good afternoon, Kathy Schaff. I was on my way to City Hall this morning, driving near 6th and Parade, and there's a house that was being torn down that's right next to the Erie's East Side Bayfront Task Force Park there. And I was wondering, okay, so it didn't get rehabilitated. Perhaps it is owned by the Erie East Side Bayfront Task Force. Didn't look into it. So it's now just going to be land, I guess. Would that go into the land bank, or does it stay with the Bayfront Task Force? Because it was my hope that that house, when it was there, I didn't look into it or anything, I don't have money, but I mean, you know what I mean. And so is that going to be available land? I thank you for all your work and all that you do. Thanks.
Thank you.
That's 420 East 6th Street. It is a land bank property. It was burned out, and so it'll be offered to the side lot, or the adjoining property owners of the side lot.
I think she's talking about across the street.
It's across the street from the gas station. It's next.
Oh, next to the park.
Next to the park.
Oh, that's a private demo by
Oh, so it is owned by somebody.
Bayfront East Side
Erie
Task
Insurance?
Force, Erie Insurance, one of them. Yeah, that's not ours.
Thank you.
What are you doing with the property on East Sixth? You demolished something at 406?
420 East 6th
420.
Street was a burned out house we acquired at the tax sale.
I
So
mean,
we
that's-
demolished it.
Erie Insurance would want to buy that, right?
No, not in that area. It's on the opposite side of the street. Unfortunately, they don't have any interest in our lots on the south side of 6th Street.
Huh, okay, I didn't know that.
They don't cross 6th Street.
Okay, thank you. Any other citizens' comments? Anyone online? I see a couple names online.
Those are our representatives from Merrill Drusel here to talk to
Oh,
the board and
okay.
answer any questions about the audit and the
Okay.
policies.
Very good. Okay, hearing no other citizen comments, we'll go ahead and move on. Takes us to finance report.
All right, we can kind of start with the 2024 Land Bank financial statements review. I know the board accepted them at the April 21st meeting, and the auditors weren't able to attend that meeting, but they're online because last meeting we provided the 4 policies that were identified within the audit for adoption by the Land Bank. They were also sent to representatives from the auditing firm for their review and any comment. I don't believe April, as of Friday, had heard anything back, but as I said, they're online and able to talk to the board about the financial statements and answer any questions you may have.
Okay. We'll go ahead and turn it over to the auditors then. Thank you.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dustin Starr with Mardisville CPAs. I served as the engagement principal for the 2024 audit. With me is Jen Croft, the manager on the engagement. We have a brief presentation to run through the deliverables that we had for the presentation, but however, feel free to stop us if there's anything that you'd like us to go into more detail. Jen, can you go to the next slide? So our agenda for the day has our required audit communications, the 2024 financials, and some highlights that Jen will cover. And then we'll go over the best practices found within the management letter, which includes a point out of some of those policies and procedures as mentioned. And then we'll end with any questions. So reports issued, I'm first going to cover the communication of those charged with governance letter. The financial statements does then include the audited financial statements and opinion, and then the management letter with the best practices included. So the required communications that we need to make, and our letter depicts this, is that our responsibilities under generally accepted auditing standards is that we provide the audit opinion, we perform our audit procedures based on an understanding of internal controls. However, our opinion is financially driven. We do report back any deficiencies that we do find in internal controls that we'll cover in the management letter. However, all the books and records and so forth are the responsibility of the organization. Significant accounting policies covered one new policy adopted during 2024. However, no significant impact to the amounts that were reported. Significant estimates found within the financial statements. All generally accepted accounting principle financial statements do include an element of estimate. However, we're pointing out the most significant is the property held for sale and what the values are found with on the balance sheet. We report back there are no sensitive disclosures found within the financial statements. Glad to report back we had no disagreements with management, and we had no significant audit adjustments for the 2024 financial statements. So then the audit results, all of the records and information requested by us were freely available for our inspections. We appreciate management for providing all that information thoroughly and timely. We'd like to acknowledge all of the cooperation extended to us, and we were able to provide an unmodified or a clean audit opinion as the conclusion of the 2024 audit. I'm going to turn over to Jen to go over some of the summary financial statements found within the 2024 audited financial statements.
Jen, we can't hear you.
Yeah, we can't hear you, Jen.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Barely.
All right. This is summary level data, so if you have any questions, please let me know and we can go over anything in more detail. But as you'll see, total assets as of 12/31/2024 was about $243,000. The majority of that amount being the cash and cash equivalents of about $115,000. And then you have accounts receivable of about $85,000, which is the reimbursement for any of those operating expenses, and properties held for sale of about $43,000. Moving down to the liabilities, accounts payable are about $71,000 and escrow deposits of $30,000 for total liabilities of $101,000, and total net position, which is unrestricted, of $141,224. Next is the statement of revenues, expenses, and changes in net position. You'll see your total operating revenues of about $516,000 in 2024. And then operating expenses consisted of admin services, maintenance, and then other operating. So your admin services are mostly payroll reimbursements to the redevelopment authority of about $204,000. Maintenance costs consist of the condemnation, maintenance, and rehab costs of about $232,000. And those were the majority of your expenses. Then you have other operating expenses of about $91,000, and that makes up, that's made up of insurance expense, supplies, contracted services, all of those other smaller expenses, which gives you a total operating loss of about $11,000. And that is offset by non-operating revenues of about $14,000. And what that is your contributed land values and any gains on sale, giving you an overall change in net position of $3,158. Next are the cash flows. Just summary level of the detail of the cash throughout the year. So total cash flows used in operating activities were about $41,000. So that's things like your grants offset by payments for operating costs. Total cash flows from capital and related financing activities, which is mostly your contributed properties, is $14,000. And then total cash flows from investing activities, which is just your interest, is 15. So an overall decrease in cash of about $27,000. Any questions on the financial information?
Yes, I have a couple. First of all, the biggest expense is administrative services, where we subcontract from the Erie Housing Authority for management services. And did you make an assessment of those as to whether or not that was a reasonable expense?
Yes, so just from our testing, that appears to be reasonable, the expenses that are recorded.
Okay, thank you. This category maintenance at $232,000, I don't think that's appropriately presented. I assume that reflects a lot of the work that's done at the properties, the demolitions and such.
Correct.
I think that should be broken out into subcategories there, because, you know, maintenance is not, what we're doing isn't maintenance. You know, we'd be spending money on demolitions, we'd be spending money on maintaining the properties. I just think that should be presented differently to break that out better, because that's an important aspect of what we're trying to monitor here.
Okay, if you have any specifics in mind of how you want to break those out, you can certainly let us know those and we can break them out for next year's report.
Well, demolition is one. If we're incurring utility expense would be another one. Cost of maintaining these properties, lawn mowing, stuff like that. I'm sure there's any repairs that we do on them. I just think we need a better breakout on that, because it's an important part of what we're doing.
Okay.
And then going to the office supplies, we're showing $28,000 in office supplies. That's a lot of paper. What's in there?
The 28,000. Are you looking at this slide?
Office supplies, $28,194. Just strikes me as a high number.
Okay. I will have to look at the trial balance for the detail. Do you have it open, Dustin?
Yeah, give me 1 second. I can give you a breakdown. Trying to get into the report. Are you able to get into the report? I'm having computer issues.
I can try. I'll have to stop sharing my screen real quick and I can get into it.
Sure. You get this.
Just as a point, Sumner, if you want to look at our budget versus actual sheet, Erie Land Bank, I think the answer might be just, and then Jen can answer when she finds it. But if you look at the 6400 series under office supplies, or 6400 supplies, it would be my assumption that anything identified as 6400 would lump into that 28,000 that they're calling office supplies out of our standard financial statements.
And what's
Yeah, that's correct. We have everything in there other than utility payments, which were $162, and advertising expense, which was only around $800. But it has payments to the redevelopment authority for various office supplies. We had noted some binders, some computer equipment, folders, other office supplies. That would just be smaller payments there.
Yeah, you have software in that category.
Yes.
But the 28,000 in office supplies still sounds high to me. What is in there that shouldn't be in there, do you think?
Well, the land bank covers 20% of our property management software, which I would have to get you the yearly cost on that, along with.
But there's a separate category on the statement for software.
Oh, is there on the financial
I'm
statements?
just thinking that
Oh, software expenses.
it just strikes me as high, and there's got to be.
We can break it out for, I'm sure I can have April break it out. That's no issue at all. As
Yeah,
far
I
as what
just-
was last year's expenses.
If you have software costs in there, you have a line for software, it should be there. Just trying to, I know these are new statements, but we want these to be informational to us and the public, and that would help.
Yeah, we can, yeah. I can have
Yeah,
April
you
look
have,
into that and report
I
out.
like what you have on your, on the trial balance, on our trial balance. I just don't like how they accumulated this. I think it's broken down, should be broken down more.
So a trial balance is going to go into way more detail than financial statements. So we have a grouping schedule that then takes the total of all the accounts and then puts them into a category. So essentially we're taking management's data, categorizing it down. You would never have a financial statement that would list every single account. That's just not practical.
I understand that, but what we're doing with the
transparency.
properties is not being appropriately reflected when you just throw everything into a maintenance number. It doesn't provide information to us or the public. We need better financial statements. I don't like these.
Okay, management will have to prepare those financial statements on the level of detail that you would like, and then we would provide an honored opinion on those financial statements.
Yeah, I don't have any other questions. Does anybody else?
Any other questions for Hannah? So,
Moving
yeah.
on to the management letter. We did have one significant deficiency, as Dustin mentioned, in internal control, which is related to segregation of duties. This is pretty common in any entity that has such a small staff size. We did note there are mitigating controls and that the board reviews monthly financial reports. However, we do recommend the board review unopened bank statements, including the canceled check images, and a formal review of those bank reconciliations by someone independent of the disbursement process be done. We did see the policies that April had provided, and it looks like this is addressed in those policies. So going forward, this should be addressed, but just something to point out and be cognizant of as the board. Just with such a small staff size, there usually does need to be some more board involvement there. And then a couple of other matters that we noted, which these are items that they don't rise to the level of a significant deficiency or material weakness, but just items that we noted during the audit that we want to let you know of as a best business practice. The first one is related to financial reporting. There were entries that needed to be posted to the financial statements as of year end. The one entry was to restate fund balance. This was for about $15,000. In the prior year, there were some condemnation costs that were not expensed. They were put in the properties held for sale. Management did disagree with that entry and let us know that they needed to restate for that entry. So that entry was made in 2024. And then there was one entry to record accruals at year end for accounts receivable and accounts payable related to operating expenses. All of those entries were prepared with the help of the land-based supporting details and the help of management. So just another matter to point out to make sure that those are being reviewed at the end of the year to catch any of those accrual entries. A comment related to journal entries. We noted there was no formal review or approval of journal entries that were being posted. Once again, we did note the policy that April had sent over that the board is going to adopt that will address this as well. And an overall policies and procedures comment, just that there's really no written policies and procedures. I know the reasoning is that you're really following the redevelopment authority's policies and procedures. So really what you have drafted and what you're going to adopt, this is a really good start towards that comment and getting that removed. I would just consider a couple of other procedure manuals for just how employees are doing their day-to-day jobs and how things are being reported. Just if there were changes in employees, there's really no interruption there. So maybe something else would be like a credit card policy that you would adopt there as well. But like I said, what April has provided that the board is going to adopt is a really good start there to getting rid of this policies and procedures comment. Any questions on the management letter? Okay. I do have our contact information here. If you do have any questions about the audit report or any questions throughout the year, just the best business practices, and you want to reach out to either one of us, we'd be happy to take a phone call or an email.
So thank you for taking the time to review this, and I think we probably will be in touch. I know I have a question quickly, and I don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole now, but to Sumner's point about the cost for our demo activity. And we can follow up on this separately, but I almost feel like that's cash flow from an operating activity. Like, I view that as, sort of equivalent to like the cost of your goods sold. It's a little bit different for us, but, we're preparing these properties to turn around and sell to the public. Maybe that's a conversation we can have if that's more appropriate in your operating activities, your cash flow statement, knowing that you're going to show a loss there, but it's really tied to preparing those assets for sale. So it's more of a comment, I think, than a question at this point, but.
Okay.
No, I just wanted to ask, why aren't they here? This is kind of difficult to get a financial report like this, because I'm hearing it, she's echoing, and it's like we're racing through this.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, we're at the mercy of them as their schedules permit to attend in person, and their availability today was via Zoom. So
So in the future, will they be here?
we can make that part of our
Yeah, I
contract
mean,
for next
all
year.
the other boards and committees I've ever served on, whether they were in Pittsburgh or wherever they were at, they always came and they were present.
Okay, yeah, we'll make sure we add that to the contract for next year and make every attempt we can to have them here in person. I know.
Yeah, that was nothing that was communicated with us, that it was required for us to be in person. And as far as racing through, I mean, if you would like us to go into more detail with anything, these were issued back in April and provided to management to review. So we're happy to answer any further questions.
I'm just a board member, and I'm making a comment.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Hearing none, I believe we're good. Thank you for joining us today and walking us through this.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go ahead and move on then to a report of the executive director. Aaron?
All right. Don't really have much today. I know I circulated an email about the National Land Bank Summit coming up September 8th and 9th in Detroit. There were some questions as far as whether or not the land bank could cover that expense. The land bank could cover the hotel and the attendance at the event if any of the board members would wish to attend. Kyle and I will also be attending and renting a vehicle, so there's certainly that shared expense as well as far as that. I would just like to know before the end of the week, room space is limited. I know Sumner responded with wanting to go, but I'd like to put in the next batch of rooms in one block. So if any of the board members that would like to go would let me know by Friday morning, and then I'll get all that accommodated before then, and then let me know before that first weekend in September so we can coordinate rides and meeting place if needed. So that's all I have for today. And not to back up, Chris, did you want to go over the financial statements provided in the packet, the monthly?
For this month, let's
Okay.
circle back and go over that.
All right. So the balance sheet as of June 30th showing total bank account $144,114.40, receivable of $100, total assets of $186,718, total liabilities and equity $186,718. I know there was at the end of June still the standard disbursement request to the county land bank, waiting their approval the third Tuesday of July, so that'll be coming in and posted. We always follow about a month behind. Budget versus actual is provided for the board. 50, we're essentially halfway through the year. There is one item which, certainly 383% of our budget is alarming, but when this budget was put together, we had not fully fleshed out using a realtor. And certainly upon taking the realtor into a lot of the properties we wanted to list for development proposals, the condition of those properties was not such that they would want to take individuals in, so we cleaned out far more properties this year than we had anticipated to make them more marketable. Hopefully in the offset at the end of the year, we'll see that as far as a revenue coming in from property sales higher than we had anticipated had we not utilized the realtor as we have. Other than that, there's a couple that are a little higher. Rehabilitation, we're a little bit higher, again, at this point in the year, but we don't really have any rehabilitation scheduled here for the rest of this year to hit that as a budget line item number. That's all I have to note on the budget versus actual.
Aaron, if I could pause there.
Absolutely.
One other question. I see our legal line item is pretty much spent for the year. Is that a reflection of higher number of transactions? What are we looking at here?
That is a result of a lot of quiet title actions that Mel and Jean have been working through a backlog of quiet title actions. So there's been a substantial amount of those being filed and ran through from 2023, 2024, things that would have been justified or placed on other years. But since they are moving forward with all of those right now, it's hitting the legal line item.
So I suspected that was part of it. So from an accrual basis, although we're not tracking that, a lot of this would be 2 years, former 2 years. Okay. All right.
I have a question about it as well.
Yes.
We're only showing 4,000 in sales through June, so these impressive developments we've had in recent months, none of those transactions had closed by June 30th, but have any of them closed so far in July?
Yes. So Cameron Road did close.
Good. That's the biggest number.
June 27th, but the check didn't hit our bank account and our financials until July. So that
Okay.
will be listed on the July financial statements.
How about the lot at 6th and Vermont?
Is that closed yet?
Not yet. It's scheduled to be closed this week.
And how about the one we were working on last month, the ones in
Locust?
South, Locust, yeah.
Yes, so we're working, Kyle's working right now to secure the survey so that we can
Oh,
perform
subdivide.
the subdivision
Okay.
before we have the agreements in place. Those were signed mid last week, but it's that we can't close on those until we get the subdivision handled.
Have we closed on the properties, the 3 properties at Archbishop Brock?
We have not yet.
Okay.
Communication has kind of dropped off with them. There were some questions and hesitation as far as whether or not they would be responsible for the monthly managed or development fee per property, along with the $10,000 in escrow. I told them everything is negotiable and to provide something for the board to review, and I have yet to receive that. It's on my schedule to follow up with them.
Okay.
All right, so I think that's it for the financial statements.
Okay. So let's circle back on that. I would seek a motion and to approve the financial report as presented. If there are no other questions.
Need a motion?
Yeah.
So,
Second?
Second it.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, so now we will jump to solicitor's report.
Good afternoon, Board. It's nice to be here. You will have received and hopefully reviewed my memorandum that was part of the board packet. Again, recognizing how important it is for the board to know and understand and appreciate where we are and what we've been doing. I itemized those properties that are for sale and are in the process of being sold. So you'll see closing dates, and then if there is not a closing date, where we are with regard to addressing and remedying an issue to get that closed as quickly as possible. So you'll see there on the sale of parcels. You'll see that 723 East 22nd Street is now secured. Again, thank you for the work of Kyle in helping us facilitate that. And as the executive director indicated, there are a number of quiet title actions that are ongoing that are over a 2-year period of time. For example, I'll draw your attention to 2626 Pennsylvania Avenue. That was purchased out of a tax sale. And after the tax sale, as we are waiting for that time frame to end and for us to finish our title search, that prior owner had passed away. Now it changes it into a whole new ballgame. Now I have to, and as what I'm finding is now the custom for these properties is an estate is never open. The kids just want to walk away from it and they don't want to have any responsibility or obligation. So now I have to track down the heirs, serve them as part of the quiet title action, and extinguish their interest. So some of these are taking longer than what I would have anticipated, but we have really been diligent in making sure that after these properties are taken from tax sale, that very quickly we're starting the quiet title action, getting them concluded so that we have all right title interests, cleared all prior interests, so that we can in turn make them marketable and get them sold to the third party. That's what we do here, that's our intentions, and that's our goal. That's an example there. You'll see that that there were 2 actions that were filed as part of that process, and we discontinued that one. So that's the type of reporting that I want the board to have from me in my office, so that you guys know exactly where we are, where we're going, and how we're going to get there with regard to these items.
Gene, do you have an idea of what it's running per property to do the quiet title actions? Some of them you don't have to, right? You get the deeds, but you.
There are some, and we have been successful in getting a hold of some of the prior owners or the heirs and convince them that part of that process is just to get us a quick claim deed and get that filed. So we're trying that alternative first.
Do you know how many of you completed? Do you have an idea? Is it too early yet? Or in other words, if you've done 10 and the total expenditure is 30,000, then we're looking at 3,000 a property. That's what I'm trying to get an idea on. Because I'm thinking some of these orphan lots that we have there, we get a lot of them where the neighbors buy them and such. Those aren't necessarily going to get involved with development. We might even sell those by quitclaim because we get so little for them. But for the ones where we want them to be developed, we totally need to do the quiet title so they don't lose that time. But I'm just trying to get a feel for that.
So that's exactly what the process that I'm going through with my staff too, is when we receive these, I'll say, assignment, my communication is, okay, where are we going with this? Is this been bulldozed? Is it an empty lot? Are we just going to provide it to the neighbor for a side lot? It doesn't necessarily change the obligations that I have to make sure that it's a clear title, but it's a lot easier and less time consuming and less expensive. So I'm aware of that. If I can get it done, quite frankly, if I can get it done with a quick claim deed and we're doing it for less than $500, I'm all in.
Yeah.
That's what
Oh,
I'm gonna
yeah.
do it. Now, under my contract, there is a set amount that for a full-blown quiet title action, here's what that flat fee is. So I'm looking to expedite these, and if I can do it by quiet title action, I'm doing it. To report a number, I'm having more and more success in going about that approach.
Good.
Yeah, so I'm saying probably at least 30% people are able to communicate with me to get a quitclaim deed from them. And I meet with them and I tell them, hey, good, bad, or indifferent, here's what the thing is. You're gonna wash your hands of it, and this is what we're doing, and they're very often happy to do that. So that's my approach looking at it, instead of just, hey, we're just gonna go full bore with a quiet title action regardless. I don't wanna do that, because I know.
So you're not doing every one that comes into our ownership?
I am not.
Okay,
I am not.
good, good.
And my goal is to cull out those that I don't need to do that as quickly as possible. So, but now you're trying to find, as you well know, trying to find heirs who don't want to be found. Sometimes a little bit difficult.
Yeah.
But it's amazing what's out there on information for people. Oh my goodness. I'm forever thankful that there were not cell phones when I was in college and law school, because the information out there is eye-opening. So yeah, that is absolutely the process and procedure that we're undertaking to help turn these around as quickly as possible. We have been, again, with the help of Kyle and Aaron and all of his staff, we've been in contact with the subdivision on that 9th and Cherry Street property. Again, that was a very unique piece of property, and if you could have subdivided on the old property lines, that would have been great, but the neighbors didn't want to do that. So they're working with me. They're paying for that subdivision to split those properties up accordingly. I've spoken with them. I know that Kyle and Aaron, and again, their staff is in contact with them. They're very excited about this. We're looking to turn this around in very short order. So that should be done here, I would suspect, by September at the very latest. Sumner, you asked specifically about the property there with Steve Lewis Contracting. He's represented by attorney Jeremy Toman at the Knox firm. I've been in contact with him. He's financing through Marquette to get a construction loan, so we're working all together on that. There was communications as early as this morning to help expedite that process. We want to see that build started.
Tell Marquette, if they're still looking at it from a credit point of view. I mentioned last month something was under contract on the block where I live, but you don't know if it's going to go through or if it's going to fall through. Well, it has sold. It was a 1,080 square foot ranch at 304 Mohawk. It went for $419,900. That's $389 a square foot. That's Fairview type numbers. That's, replacement cost. Now, there were two stories that sold in my neighborhood. They sold one at $183 a square foot and one at $211. But this patio home type thing, the single floor ranches are hot with all the old people with the money. And so that's, when I looked at this initially, when we looked at this in the winter, I'm thinking, how is he going to get that amount of money out of the city? And here we have a sale nearby of a house that's probably at least 50 years old that supports what he's doing there, that he's likely to be able to sell that at a profit, which would be just great news as to people's view of values in the city.
I have not received any indication that Marquette in any way, shape, or form is balking or concerned about the construction loan in any way, shape, or form. I would suspect that Steve Lewis is going to have more business as a result of this project.
Good.
So I want to just jump in real quick, a couple of points. So number one, I'm happy to hear, and I knew we were doing this, but having a policy in place, trying to get a quick claim as opposed to quiet and title. Chasing heirs to the end of the earth for a $2,000 lot just doesn't make sense. My other question, though, is as we ramp up with selling these properties, we're going to see more and more volume, hopefully. And one of the issues or concerns I have is the amount of time that it's going to take to get sales agreements in place as we ramp up here. And something to think about is that actually preparing the sales agreement, because Marquette, for example, is not going to be able to move on anything until you have a signed agreement. And so if that's taking a few weeks after we approve the sale, everyone is still on hold until you have a signed sales agreement. Is the activity of preparing the sales agreement something that we should look at having done by our realtor who's marketing the properties? Because that almost goes hand in hand with showing the property, collecting the deposit check. To me, it seems like that is where the sales agreement should be drafted and then handed to council. So I just wanted to make that comment that I think as we continue to fine tune this, look for those areas that are costing us a lot of time. And you guys are super busy, and to put that onto you to prepare a sales agreement or anyone else in that chain, if the realtor who's marketing the property could do that at the same time, basically, that they're collecting the deposit check, as opposed to having it take 3 or 4 or 5 weeks, we need to do that. Because it holds everything else up. You can't start a mortgage app until you have a signed sales agreement. And I don't know if that requires us tweaking something in our marketing agreement. But I don't want to lose potential developers and potential buyers because they get frustrated. They hear that we approve it, but then they continue to ask, well, I still don't have a sales agreement. So you don't really have a deal till you have a deal. And I'm not sure what that looks like, if it's just simply asking our realtor to do it, or if we have to change something in the agreement.
Chairman, I would prefer that. If there's a real estate agent who's involved in the transaction, that's what they do every day, all day. I'd rather have them do that so that they get the signed contract to me, and I can jumpstart it from my.
It seems like it's
process.
Unnecessarily clogging up your pipeline there. You've got enough to do already. And this could have been achieved at the very time that they were collecting the deposit check already, meeting with them. So I don't know if in your opinion, if that's something we can just go ahead and ask of our agent at this point, or if we need to.
Yeah, I think we can. I think we
Okay.
absolutely can. That's,
Okay.
hey, this is, and the agent's going to be more than happy to do that. They're the ones who are meeting with the buyer. That's.
Yeah.
And they don't, and they've always dealt with the agent. They don't know me from Adam.
Right.
And all of a sudden now they're getting contacted by this lawyer, and they're going, what's going on here?
It's gonna save us time, and I believe it'll save us some money as well to have the agent do it as opposed to putting it through the
I mean,
attorney's
do we
office.
even have to wait for the meetings when we agree to list something, and if we get a bid in that meets that number, it would seem to me that the officers could just sign the contract. We wouldn't even have to wait until our next meeting to approve it, because we approved the sale to begin with by approving the listing. As soon as you list,
Yeah, I think we still want to have a look at who's bidding on it and make sure that we agree with what's being proposed. But certainly from that point on, if it takes another 3, 4, 5 weeks for them to get a signed sales agreement, that's far too long. And so I think that's one area we can cut out some time and save everybody a little bit of time.
Yeah.
So if you guys are okay with that,
I-
I'm going to just propose that moving forward.
Yeah, and I think we're at that point with the policy changes that we made late last year and early this year. I think Kyle and I and Gene have worked out the kinks in the document. Attorney Toman was good at helping us with a few things that, he questioned. So we've made those changes, and I think now we have a boilerplate document that we can provide to the realtor for that.
Okay.
And again, Chairman, I'd prefer that.
Good. Thank you. I'm sorry.
Was that expedite?
Okay. Anything else, Solicitor? Thank you. Okay. Okay, unfinished business and new business. Aaron?
All right. The four policies that were on the agenda for last month and that the auditor spoke to while they were giving their presentation are in front of the board again. I don't know if the board has had a chance to look at those since last meeting, if there was any questions, if there was a will to have action on any of them or all four of them. I guess I will stop and allow the board to make any questions or comments.
I did not have any questions on these. I don't know if Chuck did, if he had reached out. Do you have any questions on any of these?
Need a vote on it?
I will say no action is needed. However,
Oh, I thought okay.
we don't have to take action. However, every month we prolong it, it just shortens that time frame before the end of the year for us to make internal adjustments in preparation for our 2025 financial statements. So,
Well, no, I would rather adopt what we have here, so. I did not have any questions on it unless there are other concerns from the other members. I would ask for a motion to approve the four policies.
I'll move it.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed? Okay, vacant lot proposals.
all right, so it's vacant lot development proposals. I just kind of put a general placeholder on the agenda. We have numerous properties listed with the Realtor currently, and so in that market, a proposal can come in on, as in this case, Sunday evening. And, certainly, as kind of was mentioned, time is of the issue. You got individuals who put in a proposal and they don't want to wait until August for the board to approve it. However, I will acknowledge that I have not had any time to do my due diligence on this individual, given that it was received this morning. Because it was emailed over last night. But it is for 1029 East 25th Street. The proposal is for an Erica Schroeder to purchase the property to develop for her daughter to live in. There's a letter provided to the board. The right side of the letter is kind of cut off, but it gives you the general gist of it. We were unable to secure a clean copy prior to the board meeting from the Realtor. But according to Mr. Easter, they've shown the property at least 25 times, and this is the only proposal that they've received thus far. The proposal is for $20,000 purchase price. And like I said, rehabilitation for her daughter to reside in the property. They did provide the development plan outlining different individuals for items within the work. However, quickly looking at that, I identify that electrical, plumbing, and HVAC are not licensed as it would appear. So we would have to verify that. But John was asking, he says, I'm waiting on proof of funds from the buyer's agent. Can we make this, can the board make it contingent on getting proof of funds if they so chose?
Do we have a picture of this property? Apparently, there's a house on this that can be rehabbed.
There is, and
Yeah.
it's a rehab opportunity. I don't have a picture readily available.
Okay, she does. Very helpful.
We can
Okay.
pull it up on the computer.
Yeah.
So
All right.
I'll
Should be the
just,
one in the corner. If you go to the county site, Cynthia, you should be able to get it if you want me to do it.
so I'll just say this has our standard $10,000 development.
Yes, $10,000 develop, or escrow, $150 development fee.
And, I mean, as much as I want to vet these applicants, filter these through, we also have to give them a chance to get their estimates in order, get their financing approved. And for them to do that, they need to know that we're okay with.
Cynthia, can you just Google 1029, I'm sorry, Chris, 1029 East 25th Street and get like a Google Street view? East 25th, I'm sorry.
That's close.
Oh, there we go, that works.
That
Can you
says
click on
1029?
1029 is, yeah, it's the one with the shrubs, the front, the enclosed front porch.
So this will have the deposit, it'll also have the $150 a month ongoing developer fee. So I'm okay giving this person a chance. They're gonna have a certain amount of time to get all of their agreements in place. It's not as if we have multiple bids to pick through on this, so.
And it has been listed, I believe, for almost 2 months now, Kyle? Yeah, it's been a while.
Did she explain how she plans to fund these improvements, or is she going to show a proof of funds, or does she have to go to a bank, or?
Well, that's in John's email, he said he's waiting on proof of funds from the buyer's agent. So she's working on providing the proof of funds. However, he asked if it could just be made in the motion contingent on the sale. So if she doesn't show us proof of funds, then we won't proceed. But if she shows us proof of funds, then we would proceed with a sales agreement.
And I would like to put a deadline on that of 10 days or something, because this is the time of year when things would sell, and this could take this off the market till October and fall through by then. I don't like that for the contractor, she just shows one party, as you pointed out. Doesn't have a plumber, doesn't have an electrician, so I don't know how much thought has gone into this.
Yeah, that, again,
Is that enough time, Sumner? 10 days?
for proof of funds?
If you're not seeking a mortgage, there's money in the account, yes.
Yeah.
So again, this goes back to the chicken or the egg, right? Do we approve it or do we wait for them to prove that they have the funds first? But oftentimes you need to show that you're accepting their offer and then you give them time. So I'm okay with that. But I agree with Sumner, the time limit, 10 days is
Yeah.
fair. If you have the funds, you can show us in a day or two. So if that's okay, then I would ask for a motion to approve the purchase agreement, adding a 10-day stipulation for proof of funds.
So moved.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Not opposed. Thank you.
All right, and last on the agenda is Erie Land Bank property tax exoneration, as Gene mentioned in his solicitor's report and identified on the top section there, sales of properties. This is essentially some housekeeping to clear some taxes from properties that are being prepared for sale so that we can, and Gene and his team can prepare and close on these properties. So it's a tax exoneration for 427 Liberty Street and 520 East Fifth Street. For the taxes identified, city and county, as the land bank can by resolution exonerate those taxes. Upon successful passing, it will be forwarded to the school district for their exoneration of taxes on 520 East Fifth Street.
And this is the same exact exercise we've gone through in the past, right?
Yeah, and it'll more than likely have a standing spot on our agenda as
Yeah.
we continue to improve our processes and try to keep these properties moving, so.
Okay. Any questions on the resolution? Hearing none, I ask for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Takes us to other business.
That is all I have.
Good? Okay, solicitor, no other business?
I just have one question. I know we're,
Did you already
Do-
put the
do-
gavel down?
do we ever replace sidewalks? I know we have an issue with sidewalks in the
Yes.
city, and
Yeah, we do, and it's something that, 2024, we didn't have a lot of demolitions, and so we like to package our sidewalk replacement for the best possible price. So we, God, in the last month and a half, have had a substantial amount of demolitions completed. So we'll start to evaluate those properties. Really, we try to determine which ones are going to be side lots. If they're side lots, then we'll do a sidewalk replacement. If there's potential for development and the sidewalk is passable, we'll leave it go for now until either it ends up as a side lot or development, because we're not going to replace a sidewalk to then have someone to come in and want to develop the property and drive a.
But on the side lot, you are looking at the sidewalk and replacing it, and we
Yes.
would add that to the price then, or try to.
Yeah, we in most cases.
Probably wouldn't get it, but
Yeah, we absorb a lot of cost.
it's something visible that we could show progress in the city when we put down the concrete.
Yeah, it's
Good.
It's that, what's best for the city, and replacing the sidewalks is best for the neighborhood in general, so.
No more questions.
Okay.
Too many.
All right, if there is no other business and no other questions, can I get a motion to adjourn?
I move it.
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor? Aye, we are adjourned. Thank you.